Okay, well, that was not. I tried to start a Tao of the day, but what ended up happening was I'm at a friend's house and their cat is sick, and they had just gotten home from Alaska, so I just wanted to say hello. If anybody wants to come on and give me a Tao, I would love to. I'd love to chat with you about the Tao. The Tao is so you're interested in hearing a little bit about the Tao and seeing what the Tao has in store for you today, I would love to have you step up and I had one open and it was 67, was it? No, it was 68. 68 is my Tao for today. And the best athlete wants his opponent at his best. The best general enters the mind of his enemy. The best businessman serves the communal good. The best leader follows the will of the people. All of them embody the virtue of non competition. Not that they don't love to compete, but they do it in spite, in the spirit. In this, they are like children and in harmony with the Tao. So I mean, I do follow some sport. And the best athlete wants his opponent to be at his best. That's always such a great reminder, because I can even get caught in this space of like, oh, if I'm in competition with someone, some ill were to befall them, I would be in a better position to win. But is that why you're playing? Are you playing to win? When I was in school, I used to get frustrated at the idea that people would ask for what questions were going to be on the test. Is that the point, to know the questions that are going to be on the test, or to learn the subject, or to learn the information? I talk to people a lot these days about the idea that, like, oh, we know how to cheat school. We know how to beat school. We know what that looks like. We know what that is. We know how to cut those corners so that we don't have to actually compete, but we can get a leg up on someone else. And I really don't want a leg up on someone else. It's not, it's not fair to me to just get the test right and then move on in this space of having to, I don't know, like, just now I can compete with you because I got the better grade. Yeah, you got the better grade, but are you living the better life? You got the better grade, but are you you? And that's who I want to be. That's who I always want to be, is me. And opponent at his best. You don't want Jordan era of Bulls, and I was born and raised in Chicago, if you didn't know that. But so many times, like, if he was out, the other team felt like, oh, good. And I remember that. But don't you want to be able to play against Michael Jordan? Don't you want that? Like, you're out here doing your best. Don't you want your best to be pitted up against the best? And get a real assessment, not a win. The win is less than you. And you are the thing that is so, and you are special, and you are great in every sense. There isn't anything that is more. You know, we can live our lives supporting each other and knowing that, like, I want the best from you so I can get the best from me. That's when we get to really kind of start mixing it up and living our life really fully. The best general enters the minds of his enemies. See, I think this is talking about humbleness. You enter the mind of the enemy. You don't assume you know what's right and what the right answer is, and that you just utilize your experience. You enter the mind of the enemy and you say, well, what are they thinking? Don't just rely on yourself. You don't just rely, you're not out here alone. There are people that are responding to you, and there are people that are going back and forth, and to stay humble in the space that, like, maybe you're not right. Maybe your solution needs to include the ideas and the thoughts and the minds and all of this through others. So you enter the mind of your enemy. The best businessman serves the communal good. I think we've definitely lost a lot of this, right? Like businessmen today, not business people, entrepreneurs, and maybe not like Mark Zuckerberg. Like, I mean, he was an entrepreneur. He moved into being a businessman. I don't know exactly what he is. He's the owner of, he's the owner of Facebook. But maybe he's not looking at the communal good. He's looking at, like, the good of his profits and the good of, like, and that's what we're forced into. Businesses are forced here in the United States, at least, to serve the stakeholders of their business, not the communal good. And so here we have, oh, and there's one more. The best lead the people. So all with different people on a physical level, you want to you want to be facing the physical equivalent. You want you of the best, right? You want your opponent to be at their best. The best general, the best, strategic planner. You want to enter the mind of your enemy. You want to enter the mind of another strategic planner to learn more about what's going on. The businessmen, this is money and finance, right? Like, you want to serve the communal good. You want to serve people so that you can, like, this is in service of people. So these are three different, like, the physical, the mental, the purpose, and then the leader follows the will of the people, and then the leader, and then right, the leader follows. You are not stuck in your mind that revolves around all of the ego that you have kind of running the show. You have all of these different aspects of you within you. This isn't talk about the general, like, you're like, well, I'm not a general, so it doesn't have anything to do with it. Yes, it does. You do have an within you, and you have a leader within you. And in order to work at their peak, and Inma's going to join me. We'll return as Inma. I think she's joining me.
Hello, Martin. Hello.
Connect.
I, hello, Martin. Can you hear me?
Oh, am I break for you?
Hello. I've been missing you. So wonderful to finally hear
No.
you.
Yes, it's so wonderful to have you back on. It is. It's. I've been on Instagram. You have painting work coming out, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's been, like, I'm always challenging myself, always trying to grow, and those things are happening a lot right now as we come to the new moon, and this cycle is, it's been emotional over the last couple of weeks, but I'm feeling more and more grounded and more centered. I know you were on a couple. I started one and then I had to stop because my friend returned from Alaska last night and I wasn't able to return home. I'm watching her cat and stuff,
Mm, mm.
and it was a little bit
I
more work for me.
Yeah, can imagine. I don't know if the connection is good.
Oh, maybe
Can
not.
you hear me
Maybe
okay?
I am hearing you, but not always the best. I'm gonna see if this helps. Does this help? I cannot hear you at all. Are you with me?
Okay, yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Can you
I
hear
can
me
hear
now?
you. Yes.
Okay, okay, good. So wonderful to have the time of the day again and to hear
Yes.
it.
Do you have a number for me?
Yes, it's number 12.
12. Okay. Oh, this is a beautiful one, and I don't know if we've done this. Colors blind the eye,
Mm.
sounds deafen the ear, flavors numb the taste, thoughts weaken the mind, desires wither the heart. The master observes the world but trusts his inner vision. He allows things to come and go. His heart is as open as the sky.
Wow.
This one is a really important one for me as an artist, and you're an artist as well. So,
Mm.
this idea that colors blind the eye. You know, I am someone who has lived without a lot of preference in my life.
Mhm.
And that's not a difficult. That's not an easy place to always be because so many people have preferences. And those
Mm.
preferences exist all around us all the time, right? Like people like this food over that food. They like this color over that color. They're asking you from a child. When you're a child, they ask you, "What's your favorite color?" And I remember one year I said black just because nobody chose black. So I chose it only because nobody chose it. But I didn't care about black. I didn't care about it any more than I cared about anything else. And that's why
Mm.
this one is really, really that concept of colors blind the eye.
Mm.
They can get you in this space of being like, well, it's not as bright as that last thing I saw.
Mm.
What are your thoughts
Mm.
there?
I'm still trying to process it because I
Yeah,
think there is. It's almost like it has come as an arrow inside me, but
yes,
I don't. I cannot verbalize what that means.
yeah,
So there is such a deep wisdom there that I cannot even verbalize it yet.
yeah. And these are all connected. So colors blind the eye, sounds deafen the ear, flavors numb the taste, thoughts weaken the mind, desires weaken the heart.
Hmm. Hmm.
Those are all so connected.
Hmm.
Our senses. Go on.
No, I was right now thinking, feeling that kind of in some of the mindfulness training, we are being asked to kind of connect with the senses, to come back to the present. But there is a deeper truth, and is that we are not the senses. So
Right.
it's almost as if we identify with the senses, then we are losing some of our essence, that is the deeper essence. That's the only thing that is coming to me now.
That's interesting, because in mindfulness, it just says, like, be present with the sound.
Mm,
Don't define it. And I
mm,
think that's the linchpin here, right? Colors
okay.
blind the eye. When you have a preference, you
Mm,
start to blind yourself to your preference. Not
mm,
not but two things that are not your preference.
yeah,
Sounds deafen the ear. Imagine, like, if once you say I don't like hip hop,
yeah,
every time you hear hip hop, you start from the preference of I don't like hip hop.
yeah,
And so you start to become deaf to what's being presented.
yeah.
Flavors numb the taste. If every time you go out, you want to taste these rich and delicate, beautiful foods, and then you go out and you're
Mm,
presented with something simple,
mm,
what are like all of those flavors that you've experienced up until that moment, like those flavors are numbing
Mm,
you to the
mm,
taste of something
mm,
simple.
mm, 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 mm.
And
I'm,
then go on.
mm. No, I was going to say I'm now fully with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have thoughts weaken the mind. Like
Mm-hmm.
your mind is keen and sharp, and the more you fill it full of thoughts, the
Mm-hmm.
more it can just really rob you and
Mm,
get you in this space of like predicting, get you in the space
mm.
of perceiving, get you in the space of not being present with what is, but
Yeah.
thinking you know what is without being present with it.
Yeah. Completely.
And
Yeah.
then desires wither the heart. And I can
Hmm.
attest for that. That's for sure.
Yes.
Right? Like the
Yeah.
more you desire something, the more your heart can break. The more your
Yeah.
heart can wither, and then the only thing you want is this thing that you don't have a grasp of, because it's a desire. It's something that you want, and yet you can't have it. And then your heart just withers and withers and withers away
Yeah.
as you hold on to that desire.
Completely. Mm. Mm. I'm not just having an almost like an embodied sense of the Tai Chi movement of push hands, where you just touch
Yeah,
but then you let go. You just touch but then you let go. So
yeah.
it's almost yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I say, well, you hold on tightly and you release lightly. Let it go. Like you
Yeah.
hold tightly while it's here, and then
Yeah.
when it's gone, you just let it go, because there isn't anything more to be said.
Brilliant.
Like the Tao states in another verse, it's like you do your work and then step back. You've done what you've come to do. Now step
Mm.
back and allow it to just be what it's going to be. There is no there. You can't dictate it anymore. Those actions now have a life of their own, and they
Mm.
will they will infuse with the world as it needs to be infused.
That's brilliant. I think that's the message I needed to hear today.
it
Yeah.
it it this verse continues just as you were talking about, like mindfulness. The master observes the world. Like that's where we start, right? You observe the world,
Mhm.
but trusts his inner vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm intrigued. What are your thoughts on that? Because with mindfulness you just observe. So here we're saying we observe, but we trust our inner vision. What is that?
Well, I think I think that yes, you are observing what is out there, but then there is this inner knowing and the inner guide, and that's the one that sometimes is kind of is telling us what we need to do, to trust, or yeah, that's
Yeah.
what that's what I'm sensing now. And then in a way, sometimes I've been teaching my students that they needed to invest in themselves, in the self-awareness, in the self-leadership, da, da, da. And then I'm thinking, to a level, I may be even misguiding them, because yes, self-awareness, self-leadership is really important. And there is a deeper level of connection and a deeper level of being. And so as yeah, when you're saying the master needs to observe, but that deeper guidance, I don't know how you phrased it.
The inner vision.
The inner vision. So the inner vision is coming from such a deep place sometimes that is independent from the dream and from what we have around us.
Right. Yeah, and that inner vision is like as you observe the world around you, it is presenting you with yourself all the time, because you're still perceiving it.
Mm-hmm.
And so to trust that inner vision may very well mean that you trust that you are observing what you need to be observing.
Yes.
And I know you spoke, like you're telling your students, like, be present But even in telling them that, you are losing trust,
Yes.
because that is that is the Tao. Like, telling them to trust the
Right.
Tao is like you can't do better than the Tao, like, to get
Mm,
people to be present.
mm,
So
mm,
you
mm,
can
mm.
observe the world and you can see that all of your students are not being present in the moment. But you can trust your inner vision, which is connected to the Tao, which states they will find it.
Yes. Yes.
He allows things to come and go, is the next line. He allows things to come and
Oh,
go,
how beautiful.
right? Like, now all of a
Yeah.
sudden we get this space of trust. Now, I don't
Yeah.
care if it stays. The point isn't for it to stay. The point is that I am
Mm,
present here, now,
mm,
with
mm,
it. And when it goes, I let
mm,
it go, because
mm.
there is nothing that I need to hold on to.
Yes. Yes. That's wonderful.
And
I can feel the lightness in my body now.
yes. And then it finishes with, his heart is as open as the sky. And that, this is one of the DAOs that I really appreciate, because of this final line. His heart is as open as the sky. I
Mm.
want my heart open, and I want it prepared to love and to be present. Like, I want to be loving you so deeply right
Mm.
now. I want you to feel
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
And when
Me too.
you go, I don't
Yeah.
want to lament that. I want to just appreciate that we've had this time together today.
Yes.
And that
That's
that is the connection. The connection is the time that we have together, not the desire which is going to wither my heart. I want to
yeah.
just be here, present with you as
Mm.
myself completely.
Mm. Mm. That's so beautiful. Yeah. Sending love back.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Okay, man, Inma, I love running through the Tao with you. You're it's always so wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me again.
thank you, Martin. Lots of love.
Mm.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Catherine is going to be joining me now. Catherine, how are you, my dear?
3. As I'm
3.
talking.
Just come on and just give me a number. All right,
3.
3. If you overesteem great men, people become powerless.
I've had this one before.
Yes, you have. Do we? So the question is always, do we need to talk about it again, or do you want to try another?
How about 13? Because it's my 113th episode today.
Oh, that's a perfect one. Yeah,
Which,
this is right after 12 too, and we just read 12. So
well,
here we
look,
go.
there we go. I know what I'm
All right.
doing.
Yeah. Success is as dangerous as failure. Hope is as hollow as fear. And we've read this before.
I know, isn't that funny?
Yeah. And we also talked about the fact that, like, I've done so many of these and we've only covered less than half of the chapters. So there's so many out there, and we come on and we pick those. Like, 3 is definitely in your thing. We're going to continue going through this, because we'll talk about this one again, just because we can't get away from you picking ones that you've already picked. But
You can't get.
what what what
You
does it
should
mean?
have a list. You have a list like, here are the numbers you've already picked.
Right, yeah. But no, I mean, I think the fact that you're picking these is poignant, and we need to be able to trust your intuition, right?
That's right.
What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. When you stand on your own 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is as hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms. They arise from thinking of the self. When we don't see the self as self, what do we have to fear? See the world as yourself, have faith in the way things are, love the world as yourself, then you can care for all things.
I like it. So does Spencer.
Oh, good. Spencer.
Yep.
And yeah, I know, we've met.
Yeah.
Not personally, but we've met.
Yes. Oh, I love the part where it talks about hope, because I really feel like hope is hollow.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that. Like this idea that hope is just like like crossing your fingers and closing your eyes, right?
I don't even think it's that strong. I think it's more like, you know, the knife is against your skin. I hope it doesn't cut me. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I hope so too.
Yeah. Like you could move. You could move.
I got nothing for you.
Yeah.
It feels like, when people say it is what it is, same kind of thing to me. Is like, wah, wah.
You know what? I'm going to pick a number for you for today because we can't get away from you picking your own. So I'm going to pick number
I
50.
wanted to do this one.
You want to do this one? You sure?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
well, let's go ahead. Let's go through it. Success is as dangerous as failure. Hope is as hollow as fear. And we talked about hope. You like the hope thing.
Mhm.
What about success and failure?
I think that's so true, because it's like, they talk about fear of failure and fear of success. It is so true, but you can't really define what fear of success is when you're thinking about it, but you can visualize what your fear of failure looks like. And so you don't really realize what your fear of success, how it looks when you get there, but you will self-sabotage along the way.
Yeah.
And when you are in the highest of success, boy, it's a lot farther to fall, and it's a lot more to manage. It's a lot more stuff to manage. Your business a lot more to manage. Your reputation's a lot more to manage. It's just ends up being a lot more than you realize and taking a lot more time. Like I think of this client I work with, and he's always like, I'm going to design my whole life around only working 4 hours a day. And, he's not doing that. He's taking every opportunity that's there. And now he's traveling constantly, working probably 18 hours a day. And I'm
Right.
like, I think you went overboard in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Success is, like success, I do like this success is as dangerous as failure. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it relates so much to me because I'm always, and this is a little something. Like I hold on to this kind of concept that, I'm a failure. Like, and that's something that I want to get rid of. But like, there are a lot of places in my life where I'm still holding on to old concepts of not being successful, whether that
Mm-hmm.
be in school or wherever. I think I hold on to a lot of those, and it's been brought up to me recently that I don't have to live in the past, but and so failure, um, although can be dangerous, I think success, like this concept of success is dangerous failure. When I look outside of myself and I see people who are successful, and then I can very easily just dismiss success because their success led them to have this experience which I don't want to have.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah. And which is creating that ability to sabotage.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So success could even read as a dangerous thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because
so
you want
what's that?
because you want it to.
Right, absolutely. So what does it mean that success is a dangerous failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky.
Yep.
Yeah. And so like trying to go up the ladder and be successful or just kind of being on the ladder at all, your position is shaky. When you
Yeah.
stand
Yes. I like that
when you
one.
when you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance. And that speaks to me in this idea of like, well, what does it mean to stand on the ground then?
Mm-hmm.
What does
Yeah.
that look like? And I'm not exactly sure I
I
can.
I like right now it just came to me. We talk about being grounded and
Hmm.
having the earth, having your bare feet on the ground
Yeah.
actually energetically grounds you.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's what I'm like that I'm getting that so clear.
Yeah.
The advisory board is speaking now.
Yeah. They have a lot to say. When you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance. And
Mm-hmm.
that's it, like keeping your balance. It's like don't get on the ladder at all. Like it's not about like you and like trying to be somewhere you're not, trying to be successful, trying to attempt anything. Like just being here with your advisory board, with your intuition, with yourself is how you will keep your balance. Being here, present in the moment.
Yeah. Yep.
What does it
And
mean that
taking the
hope?
time
Oh no, please.
grounded.
What's that?
Make sure to be aware of being grounded. I think that's why it's in its own line with nothing else to it.
Right. Like you want to be grounded. You want to
Mm-hmm.
be attached or connected to the ground. You
Yes.
clapped. Is Spencer doing something?
Yes.
Yeah. What does it mean that hope is as hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
And they
same
arise
idea.
from thinking of the self.
Yep. I mean, enough said, right? I mean, didn't we kind of talked about that already?
Yeah, we talked about that already.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. They arise from thinking of the self. So you're afraid for yourself. You're afraid of
You're afraid to
and
want it enough. You're afraid to really step into. I mean, I feel like when people say, "Oh, I really hope it comes together," it's
mm,
like hot air. There's no
right.
there's no grounding in it. There's no, real motivation in it. It's not being driven by anything really, but the fear of if it doesn't come together, you're more focused on that. That's what I feel like when someone goes, I really hope that this happens.
Right.
And you can feel them focused on if this doesn't come together, my whole world will fall apart. And that's what I hear when someone says hope, even if they try to say it more perky. It's
Right.
they're more focused on fear, which means they're more focused on ego and self.
Yeah. When we don't see the self as self, what do we have to fear?
Mm, that's a good one.
When we don't identify with who we are in this moment, we don't identify as the self, when we don't identify as all that we believe us to be, then anything can happen and we could be open to that.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I talk about being in that Goldilocks zone in the sweet spot to really be able to hear your intuition clearly by letting go of all the thought, to-do list, data, all that kind of stuff, and letting go of all this heavy, misdirected emotion. Emotions give really bad directions. You never want them as your backseat driver.
Right.
And if you can let go of that and just be in that Goldilocks zone, that sweet spot of that joy of, eating a jelly donut or petting your dog or whatever that moment of just kind of blissful joy for you is, then you release all that. That's when intuition can guide you the best. That's when you're grounded. And that's
Right.
why the grounding, put your 2 feet on the ground, really is about taking your shoes off with bare feet, standing on the actual earth,
Right.
because that is where the Goldilocks zone is.
Yeah, that just right spot of just being who you are just being at this moment, not even who you are, just being
Yep.
at this moment. See the world as yourself. Have faith in the way things are. Love the world as yourself, then you can care for all things.
Well, that goes back to something I say all the time. Be kind to yourself. Be at ease with yourself.
And everything else as well. Like, see the world as yourself. When you look outside of yourself and you see those things as separate, then you are unable to be kind to this moment.
Right.
Have faith in the way that things are, so that the way things are at this moment right now, have faith in that, because that is you and you know what's best for you. So whatever is happening right now is what is what is great for you at this moment.
Yeah, and a big part of that is if you can be kind and nice to yourself. I mean, most of the time when people are mean or rude or sharp or challenging, it's because they're being mean to themselves. They're unhappy in some way.
Right.
If we were nicer to ourselves, imagine how kinder we'd be to each other and how different the world would be.
And as long as and if we could be kinder to ourselves and see the world as ourselves, so be kind to the world around us while as ourselves, just like allow those things to be, have faith in the way things are. And then it
Yep.
says love the world as yourself. Then you can care for all things, and it doesn't have to be this space of selfishness. It doesn't have to be this space of, oh, I have a partner and I have to care for them. You can just give to everyone as yourself.
Yeah. And that really starts with just be kind to yourself. Because if you're really kind to yourself and you feel and good about who you are and where you are in your life and the moment that you're in, and then you don't get worried about what's happening in the world, and you can be kinder to the people that you come across, and that kindness then spreads, but it will spread at a much deeper, higher level if each person is also kinder to themselves.
Right. And the experience that they're having.
In the experience that they're having. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Because
mean, it's such a
everyone's
simple thing
experience
if
is
you
so
think
different.
about it.
What's that?
It's such a simple thing if you think about it. If we want to have a better world and humanity and how we treat each other, the place we need to start is how we treat each other, like treat ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So simple.
Because we are experiencing the world, and so the world that we're experiencing is ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
that we can very easily give a little bit more love to the world and help the world be closer to itself by being closer to ourselves. Catherine, thank you so much. It's always
Thank
wonderful.
you. We are so smart. Thank you for doing
We are. Oh,
13.
I love 13. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch shortly, I'm sure.
All right.
Bye bye. Okay, we have Damien joining. I believe Damien and I have spoken before, so we'll have him on. Damien, how are you doing?
Good morning. How are you, man?
Good morning. I am well. Do you have a Dow for the day for me today?
You know what's funny is the last time we spoke, I picked 13, so it was interesting listening to
Oh,
you and Catherine discuss it.
I do remember that. I remember
Yeah,
now
no, of
that
course.
you picked 13. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. You mean you don't remember the one time we
Like,
spoke, that number I picked? How dare you?
right?
Let's
So I,
go.
yeah. What are you feeling?
I'm feeling like 55.
55. It's 54. I'm doing it. I'm doing it all. What's it called? Analog today with just a book.
I like it.
He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. His bones are soft, his muscles are weak, yet his grip is powerful. It doesn't know about the union of male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power. It can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So complete is its harmony. The master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly without desire. He never expects results, thus he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old.
That's a fun one.
Yeah. Initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts. I love the beautiful idea that, that as an adult we can be like a baby.
Yes.
We can have that beautiful balance um, of exertion without tiring,
Mm-hmm.
and that we can truly accept just kind of how things are, right? You know, we get so caught up in what we think quote unquote should happen. Like should is one of my least favorite words ever.
Yeah.
And you know, what should happen, how it could be, what I'm obligated to do because of X, Y, and Z. You know, we cloud so much of the purity of life because we place expectations upon others and more importantly ourselves, right? If
Yeah.
you're if you have this expectation, then are you really in the flow? Because you've given yourself a target. So you're steering towards that, regardless of if flow is actually taking you away. But if we let go of that, then all of life becomes easy, right? What
Yeah.
was that
You're
last
never
line? Something
disappointed,
about,
right? Yeah.
yeah,
You're never disappointed. Thus the spirit never grows old.
yeah. Like how beautiful is that? Like, what if you never had to feel that slight sinking feeling of, oh, I wish that was different,
Right.
and just went, oh, I love that that is.
Yeah. And that's the, and so yeah, let's go through this line by line because I'm reading it over as we're talking, and I'm like, this is a really nice one. And like I do love, like, it's oftentimes when I read this one to people, the whole penis, the erect penis on the baby is the thing way. But I'm excited to get to that because I'm intrigued by it. Um, he who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. This is just a metaphor that we start with and really doesn't, like, we're going to go into the explanation next. So I'm going to go right into the next line. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful.
Yeah,
You've seen, I don't know if you have a child. I don't,
I have two.
but okay. Well, there is that point where a child can grip onto things and, like, they can hold themselves up. They can
Yeah,
hold themselves from like a stick or like, and it's so amazing. I didn't know about this until maybe a couple years ago, but there's something really beautiful in that. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. How do you process those three different things: bones, muscle, grip?
I think there's a few different ways you can look at that. The first direction for me is that having soft bones means you're still pliable, that you don't
Mm-hmm.
break, you bend. You know, kids have soft bones because well, first of all, they're in utero, right? They're in a womb, they're all balled
Right.
up, right? So they
Yeah.
have to be able to fit in there. And sometimes kids come out with some very interesting bent bones. And every parent
Okay.
freaks out. Oh my God, look at this dent and look at this thing, and his foot's going that way. And every doctor says the same thing. It's okay. It'll work itself out.
Right.
And if it doesn't, they're still bendy. We'll put a brace on it and we'll structure it the way we want to.
Yeah.
So having soft bones to me is just the ability to be pliable, the ability to still bend through life instead of breaking. But it's also the reality that you are not fortified yet. You have not been through enough of the fire to come out the other side hardened, you know,
Right.
of life. Muscles are weak is the same thing. Like, do we really need strong muscles? Yes and no. Yes, we need to be able to move and get through the day. Do we need to be able to lift 600 pounds? I have some weightlifter friends that would say yes, but I think the reality is no, we don't. But the beauty of this is in the grip. It's our ability to have our determination stronger than our body.
I love that. And I'm gonna just riff on this just a little bit. The bones and the muscle are the structure. The grip is the purpose. Like, the bones and the muscles are like the walls of a house, and you can build a house, but if you don't have any space left inside to live, the house is useless. Its bones and muscles are the structure, which are going to which create your body. But the grip is this grip on like you can grip that thing, and it can hold you up, even though your muscles and bones are not fully formed. The grip is the purpose. The grip is the essence of the being. And the bones and the muscles are just the structure of which this grip is being executed through.
So what's the purpose of the grip?
It's an interesting question. I mean, like it is just what, when I say it is not the purpose for the being, but the being exists in support of the grip. Just like a house exists in support of the space within the house. The walls are the structure. So the bones and the muscles are the body. And the body is weak, but the grip is that which is connected to the Tao. That's the power. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Now we're starting to understand, like, as I see it, like this idea that the grip, like you can do this regardless of the fact that your structure isn't solid yet. You can grip. And gripping is kind of like, I see that as like it is powerful, as it says here. And the grip is you being connected all that it is. And then it moves into, and maybe
You're
that
breaking
doesn't
up a
make
little
sense.
bit.
But oh, am I? My bad.
Yeah, I lost that last sentence. Repeat that last part.
Oh, I think the last sentence was just like, I don't know if this makes sense. But no, like the grip is that connection to the power of the being. You don't need a structure in order to access the power of being, and the grip is powerful. And even though the grip exists through the being, the bones are soft and the muscles are weak, and yet still the grip is powerful.
Yeah, it's like I love where you're going with this, and the thoughts that pop up for me are, obviously the grip is the powerful part. It's the action, right? It's the only aspect of that statement that is action based. And a baby will sometimes grip because it wants to, and sometimes grip for no reason at all.
Right.
Meaning if you put a stick in, if you had a baby hold onto your fingers and lifted it up, at a certain point when it's strong enough, it will hold on. It won't want to drop.
Right.
And it'll be scared even, but it won't drop because it's holding on as a survival response.
Right. And
But
that is not, and I would argue that's not an action. It's like just being. Like the child is
right.
just, it's not actually making a choice. It's just like, this is who I am. This is the Tao. This is the power.
Right. And I think that the beauty in that is, like, in that piece of it, is that the mind is capable of executing something the body can't. Like, the baby's muscles are weak and the bones are soft, and yet it will still hold itself up. It'll still survive because its grip is powerful, because it is just that being. It is just existing in that moment. It's pure. There's no clouding of the thought. There might not even be thought at all.
Right.
And the first day my oldest son was out in the world, the only way he would sleep was by holding my finger. And the grip, this unknowing but also complete connection to the understanding that he needed to hold me,
Yeah,
was a powerful moment in my life.
I bet.
Yeah, I like that. I like you could just have that. You could just discuss that piece all day long.
I
The
think
bones
so.
are weak. The bones are soft, the muscles are weak, but the grip is what?
Powerful.
is powerful. Yeah, I like it.
And it is powerful.
Oh, immensely.
It doesn't know the union between male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power.
Yeah.
And I think that is, like there's no reason for the penis to be erect, but it knows its vital power.
I
And
think
it
there
is
is a
intense.
reason.
Oh, yeah, go on.
I think there is. I think that like the reason is literally just the expression
Yes.
of that energy, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not, again, it's not sexual energy
Not
at that
sexual.
point.
No, no,
It's
no. It is
sacral.
vital power.
Right. Yeah. It's just the connection of the energy throughout the chakras, throughout itself.
Absolutely.
It is just a physical embodiment of energetic prowess.
Yes.
It
And I
has
think that's kind of what I mean by there's no reason, like the reason is it is. The
yeah,
reason is
yeah,
that it exists and it has that power.
yeah, absolutely.
It can scream its head off all day, yet never become hoarse. So complete is its harmony.
Yeah. I mean the balance of, again, full exertion without tiring,
Yeah.
and they do tire. It does happen,
Yeah, of course.
but there is
But their
absolute
throat doesn't
truth in
ever
that.
become hoarse. They never go, ah,
Right.
mama. Like
I
that's
mean,
the thing. They'll tire, but they
eventually
won't
they
they
get a
won't
little hoarse.
destroy they
I
won't
had one that
destroy
got
their
hoarse.
throat.
Say that last part again.
They won't destroy their throat by doing it because they're in harmony with their body.
Right.
The master's
Right.
power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly without desire. He never expects results, thus he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old.
Because he's living in that same harmony,
Yeah.
or she.
Yeah, they are living in that
Yeah.
harmony.
The
However
master is
they,
living in.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. And without desire, without expecting results, you can never be disappointed because you just are with what you are as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Damien, thank you so much for joining me again today. I really appreciate you going through 55 with me.
Thanks, Martin. John, I appreciate you. You have a
Thank you.
great day. Thanks for the time and energy and discussion, man. Good to see you
Yeah,
again.
it's always such a wonderful, wonderful experience. Thank you. Okay. If anybody else wants to jump on, I would love to have you. This is Tao of the Day. What I do is I just ask you to pick a number between 1 and 81, and we talk about that chapter of the Tao. So far, we have done 55, 12, 13, and I started I don't know how long ago, with 68. And I believe I was just at the latter end of 68. All of them embody virtue of non-competition. So what it says is the best athlete wants his opponent at his best. The best general enters the mind of his enemy. The best businessman serves the communal good. The best leader follows the will of the people. All of them embody the virtue of non-competition. Not that they don't love to compete, but they do it in the spirit of play. In this, they are like children and in harmony with the Tao. Well, we just read 55, all about, children and being in harmony with the Tao. And I think that there's a lot to be said there. I think there's a lot to be said when you're not competing to win. I like to say this a lot, like when I play cards, I come over to a friend's house and I play cards on the weekends, and I don't suffer not winning because without them I couldn't. And that's I think at the core of a lot of this, it's the space of, hey, I want to be here and I want to be doing this, and without you I can't be doing this. And so the general, instead of being like, I want to win, enters the mind of his opponent and says, what are they thinking, and what can I learn from thinking the way they think? The best athlete says, hey, I can win if you're hurt. Well, that's not the best athlete, is it? That's the athlete that is going to win because their opponent's not at their best, but you want them at their best. And you want them at their best because that is how you're going to be able to assess yourself. I mean, I was talking about school earlier and the idea that you want to learn to the test or teach to the test. We do have another person coming up, Bella. I don't know that Bella's ever picked a number, but let's see what she has to say. Hello, Bella. How are you, my love?
Hi, Martin. I picked you. That's the number.
Aye, okay. Well, you got the right number as far as I'm concerned. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
well, as far as I'm concerned too. So, yeah, I've just been listening to you and your speakers, and every time I come to the room, I feel that I've been poured into, and there's been an equitable exchange of energy, and that's really, really good. And the reason I didn't pick my numbers because I think I explained to you.
Yes, you have.
And
You
this is,
have.
but what I loved is what you were saying, and it reminded me by grace of being a guest at the Olympic Games and other international games, and we'd be in the hotel and you'd see these amazing athletes showing respect for each other.
Yes.
And I love the story. A dear friend of mine who broke and a coach who broke both the world record and the Olympic record was so humble. And there was this function taking place where they'd written a book about all the great Olympians. So we were at a table. There were four of us, and everybody was just talking, including my friend. And suddenly, this woman came over with a book to ask the person who I was sitting next to sign. So I kind of no, I've been talking to this gentleman, and his name was Dick. And he said that we were talking about skiing, and I was saying to him that this was a sport I was not good at, and everything ached, and I wish I could go from beginner to something. And he said, well, do come. And I said, well, what do you do? He said, well, 6 months of the year I ski, and 6 months I work as an engineer. So I said, well, where do you live? I mean, what a life, working for 6 months and then skiing for 6 months. And he said, Aspen. Of course, when you say Aspen, my ears perked up. Sure, I'll be there. And anyway, while we were in that conversation, someone came up with a book to ask him to sign. So I kind of stretched my neck to see who he was in the book. He's so humble. And it turned out to be Dick Fosby. All the Olympic records for high jump have been won using the Fosby flop. That's the flop where you go backwards,
Yeah.
you see your feet. So obviously, at that time, I think I was in business school, so I had a bit of a competitive nature. So I said, "Well, how did you do it?" And he said he was very tall and he wanted to win. Obviously, he was very good at high jump, but he wanted to join the American team. But because he was tall, his feet kept on clipping the bar as he went across. So he put the bar very low and tried various techniques to get over so that he could move his feet. And then he realized that if he went back, he could see his feet and then lift them up. And I learned a lot about leadership um, in during that lunch. First of all, the humbleness. Believe you me, at the time, I would have had a big shirt saying, "Look, mate, I am He just said his name was Dick. Secondly, he wanted something so much that he was willing to lower the bar and test various techniques.
Yeah.
And thirdly, leaving a gift to the world. And, being in Olympic villages and things like that, you could always tell the Olympians who were on the downslide. It's because they started getting big for their boots. Those who remained humble, who talked to others as if they were the greatest, had respect for everyone who they were competing with, are generally the ones who went on to win gold medals. So I hear you what you say, and to me, competition for me has always been against myself. How can I be better so that I can leave my mark in the world?
Mm.
So here we go, Martin. You've allowed me to share a little bit more about myself before people will be able to write a book.
Yeah. Oh, I heard you this morning after I got off with Regina, and it was you guys had a wonderful share as well, and I really appreciate everything that you're always sharing here on wisdom, and I appreciate you coming on and blessing me with your wisdom as well.
Oh, I love your wisdom, and I love, past being a scientist, I love the way, despite the challenges you've had in life, to extract wisdom from the challenges, and instead of saying poor me, so much so that when you mention the challenge I have to reset my mind because I say, oh, Martin's going to drop some gems here, and then you talk about your challenges, then I have to remember. And to me it shows how brave you are as a person. And yes, wisdom, because Dad said, wisdom is experience without the emotion, that you have learned the lesson. You are happy with the lesson you've learned, and you're moving on with that experience, and that gives you wisdom. And very, very often, we are competing with our emotions. I'd love to say, um, there's not an emotional element to me, because when I was trying to get on stage and I was having these texts and phone calls, I was getting irritated. But that was not the point. I was where I needed to be at that time. And
Yeah.
I just needed to be focused on what I needed to do at that time. And the phone calls regarded Meghan Markle having won the case against the tabloids.
Oh,
And yeah, she won it. And so everybody was excited that,
yeah.
who would have thought, one person against the system? I mean, I certainly wouldn't have had the courage to do it. But it's not that it was her, it was that somebody felt that something was wrong and was prepared to fight despite the obstacles, despite the name calling, despite all the other things that were thrown, but to stand firm, saying, "This is where I stand." And I really am inspired by people saying that, because you can only do that if you feel safe in the world. You can only do that if you're willing to stretch your boundaries and experience and connect with who you really are. I mean, with all the money she has, you could have just turned her back and said, I don't care, this happens to everybody, what about me? But it took a lot of courage. And I'm seeing a shift in the world where people are not carrying their crosses in a this is my cross, I must carry it. But actually using the cross that they're carrying to be brave enough to tell the world, this is why I'm carrying the cross.
Yes.
And these are the lessons I have learned. This may help you. So the problem becomes a collective one rather than an individual one.
Well, the solution becomes collective.
Yes, that's better. That's a better. Yeah, the solution becomes collective. And the more collective we are, the easier the problem becomes because we know we are loved. You know? Because
Yeah.
we're connecting, we know we are loved. And I mean, when you spoke about, what you were doing, every morning and every night, my scientific brain went into, why is this occurring? Which cortical tracts are they using? And through trying to figure it out, inspired by your bravery, I, I learned something new that, your the somatosensory cortex, which is a strip that runs, if you take your ear roughly and go right to the middle of your head on both
Yeah.
sides, there's a thin strip called the somatosensory cortex, and that deals with our sensory perception.
Hmm.
And when you use your non dominant hand, it has been found that it you get more, without going into too much detail, you get more signals. So making you much more sensitive with the world you're in, your sense of smell, taste, feeling, all of them get heightened. And as I
Yeah.
was saying, when these feelings get heightened, and feelings are concerned with neuropeptides, you
Hmm.
get emotions. So you recognize those feelings, and you can sit comfortably with those feelings, and then perhaps allow those feelings to come out of your body and understand the cause beneath it. There's just so much I want to do, and when I hear stories like yours, it just says, just take a little step tomorrow or now, take a little
Yeah.
step.
That's it.
Yeah, just a little. Not
Just a
don't.
tiny, like I'm
Yeah.
telling you, when I started writing with my non-dominant hand, it was just a, well, let's just try this, and no judgment,
Yes.
no, and it is completely normal. I pick up my pen in the morning now, and I don't even think about it, and I just write. And is it neat? Can it be read? Can it, all those things? None of those even matter. I don't even think about it. I just write. And if I misspell something or if I do something wrong, there is no wrong. It cannot exist in this, under these circumstances. So I just get to be where I am.
I can't tell you how inspirational it is. And it took me back. I'd always wanted to be a doctor. So I had a major accident just before, and I had to take organic chemistry. And it was on my dominant hand, my right hand. And I needed, I'm just sharing the story, not to boast or anything, but just to to stand on what you're saying. And I knew that if I didn't pass that course in that time, I would have to wait another year. And so my right dominant hand was injured very, very badly. And so I had to, the thing was to draw these complex structures with my left hand. Because the course was bigger than myself, I had to sit the exams with the left hand, which was not my, I had to write, I had to draw the structures, everything, show how the reactions were going, everything with the left hand. And by grace, and the intent that I had to do well, uh, y- uh, I did it and I got an A. And when you said your story, it reminded me of that because sometimes we forget how, when our intention has been pure and has been bigger than ourselves, the obstacles we've overcome. You know, we tend, and I'm talking to myself here, we tend to wallow about how impossible it is and how the problems look so big. But it was a gift, your story. It was a gift, your story. And tomorrow morning, when I wake up, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that because, you know, the hurdles are very high, but I can't just forget the other hurdles I've overcome and how other people are overcoming hurdles so that they can be true.
Oof. And they can be true to who they are, and then you got cut off there. But it's true. And I want to say that, I'm not stopping at my non-dominant hand. I do want to write with my feet. I mean, why not? What else am I doing? It's just a challenge. It's a challenge to feel uncomfortable. It's a challenge to be present with my body. I'm really glad that inspires you, Bella, to write with your non-dominant hand. There's nothing. There's nothing that you need to achieve with that. You don't have to achieve legibility. You don't have to achieve other people reading it. You don't have to. There's nothing to achieve. And the Tao speaks about that a lot. And I think we talked about it today. Like, you don't have to have expectation, and then you don't get disappointed. Write with your left hand, write with your right hand, write with your foot, write with your mouth. Give yourself a challenge and try and tackle it. And do it every day for 3 months. And if you don't like it anymore, stop. But if you do it once and then stop, that doesn't allow you to feel uncomfortable enough. You're just like, oh, I'll just stop tomorrow. Things can be hard. Things in life sometimes are. But when we can step into a space and just feel uncomfortable in that space, feel uncomfortable being that at that moment, well, let's see what this feels like. And there's no consequence. You're not being forced into it. I'm going to be doing a dark retreat early in 2022. And a retreat essentially is solitary confinement, dark room, no light, 8 days. And they send food in through a box. So I don't see any light. If you are in prison and you get put in solitary confinement, this is a completely different experience. It's an experience of torture. But that same experience of torture can be an opening experience of sensory deprivation. And you can just be in a space where you're deprived of your senses, but you're gifted yourself. I'm Martin John. This is a Recover Yourself production of Tao of the Day. What a great day. 13, 12, 55, 68. We have covered some beautiful chapters and we've talked about some wonderful things. I hope you guys have gotten something out of it. I love you, each and every one of you, as a group, as individuals, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you are amazing. You're doing great things. You're communicating to people every moment, even if you don't think you are. You are a light. I love you. Have a wonderful day. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.